Hello there everyone. Now that you know the concepts, we are going to teach you one of your first few moves. This one is going to be the butterfly. And I'm choosing the butterfly because it's easier for a beginner to do the same motion at the same time than to do the same motion offset. Even though for me it feels better in split time when you do stuff, but for most people, since they don't know what to do yet, it's easier for them to have this. So, to do a butterfly, first you have to understand that a butterfly is an illusion. It looks like they're going to hit each other when they're doing a butterfly. It looks like they're going to hit each other. It really does. But they're not. They're actually offset quite a bit. So when you're doing it, if you were to see it from the side, you're going to see one going this way, which is this way, and you see the other one going this way. And you're going to see this kind of like gap, like a V-shaped gap when you look at it from the side. So if I exaggerate it, you should see the V-shaped gap right here. Oops, bad. Okay, you should see a V-shaped pattern. Now, when you're doing it, you're not going to want to do this with your hands together like this. Once you get good at it, that's when you do that. When you're learning this, you want to stack your hands. And stacking your hands, what they're going to do is that if your poi are spinning straight, and you put your hands together, your poi tend to follow wherever you're pointing. So if your hands are straight and you bring them together, you're pointing to the same place. Your fingers here are pointing to the same place. So your poi are going to want to go straight with that, and then they're going to hit each other, and you're going to have a huge mess. Instead, if you cross your arms, they're pointing like this now. So you have that V shape. And you're going to want that because that's going to make it so you can do this move. The trick is that they're offset by just enough for the poi themselves to be away from each other. And when you go to enter it, you probably want to start with whatever is your least dominant arm and get it spinning at that angle. And it might take you a bit to be able to take it from straight, like you usually do, or straight here, and bend that out. But keep in mind that this is in your wrist. This is not my arm moving around. It is my wrist that is controlling this. I'm doing this as I go with it. So if I keep my wrist square with my body like this, it's spinning straight towards you. As I move that inwards slowly, and a thing you want to do is if you pull it in the direction you want it to go, it's going to change its path. So if I pull it straight, it's going to go straight. If right about here, actually as it's coming up to there, if I decide to pull it to over there, it goes over there. So the key to turning is you move your wrist little by little, kind of doing this. You just tug on a little bit and turn your wrist. And that's going to allow you to bring that in. And you're going to want to be able to spin it at an angle. And the angle should be fairly substantial for you to see. It should be about a 45-degree angle when you're first learning this, because your arms are going to be crossed. But when you're learning it, you want to learn it at a 45-degree angle, and you're going to slowly turn back to this semi-straight kind of butterfly plane that we've got here, where they're both angled. So start with your least dominant hand, and get that good. And now you want to start it. Now when you're doing this, if you are more dominant going up than you are going down, you might be learning your butterflies the other way, which is fine. I'm going to cover both. I'm going to start with when you spin down. If down is your dominant direction, which down is forwards, by the way. If you're going down, you're going forwards. Then what you're going to want to do is when they're over here, you get them at that kind of angle we were talking about, but farther away from their body, not real close to you, just a half arm's length out. And just have them spinning like that. And as they come up, you want to take them and put your hands on top of each other. And as soon as they touch, right here, you're going to come down with both of them at the same time. And when you do this, it's going to make them sit in place. Now when you first do it, this is probably what's going to happen. And they're going to hit each other. Do this slowly, do not do this fast. I really recommend heavy poi for learning this the first time, because it's going to allow you to slow this down. And as your wrists are crossed, just pay attention to the fact that your hands are pointing away from each other. Now your butterflies aren't going to be perfect. You can probably see that my poi are not perfectly straight. You can see the top and the bottom are not matching. Again, that is because I have my hands offset right now. It doesn't mean I'm not doing butterflies. It just means that my hands are offset. My timing is still correct. My timing isn't an issue. It just looks weird because they're not perfect. So just keep in mind that pointing direction. You have them on top of each other. And get used to that. If you cut too early and you don't have it where it needs to be, and where it needs to be is really if your wrists are crossing. And the two things you're going to be pointing at are going to be like that far away. You're going to have that much of a gap between your wrists. And that's going to give you that pointing for them to cross. And then as you get better with it, start taking your hands, and make sure you can hold this for a while. Don't go fast again. Keep it slow. And then as you're going up and down, which this is going to keep it going. Don't try to go round again. You just want to go up and down once they've touched. This up and down motion is what's going to keep it going. You're not going to be trying to sway your arms out and into it. You're just going to go up and down. That's going to keep them going. You might want to flick your wrist a little bit like that to keep it going. Just a little bit of a flick. And you're also going to feel that slight pendulum pull that we were doing earlier. Those pendulum stalls where you just kind of levitate it up. We're doing those in these butterflies. We're going up and down with our hands, and we're just kind of tugging it a little bit. And that's your butterfly. If you do reverse, you're going to come from the bottom. When you come from the bottom, you're going to put your dominant arm underneath your least dominant arm. I'm not good at doing this reverse this way. I'll switch up which one I'm going to put on top here for a minute. There we go. And again, you want them to come together at an angle. So you want to slowly turn your wrists inwards and pull. When you're pulling, when you're in reverse, you're pulling as it's coming from here. So you want to pull it there. Kind of like when we were doing pendulums, we were pulling them up. You want to pull this at the bottom. You just want to get that motion because that's going to help you out here. And once you get good with these, there we go. I keep forgetting which arm I'm dominant with. Once you get good with these, then you can do reverse butterflies. And it's okay if you're not good in one direction than you are in the other. For me, I can do reverse butterflies all day. As you saw earlier, crossing them just kind of screws me up at this point because I don't do those anymore. My dominant is up and down, not down and up. and keep that timing, that butterfly timing that we taught you earlier. And no matter which one you're in, what you're going to want to make sure of is that you slowly start pulling away. So right now my wrists are crossed, which is giving me this nice angle here for them to cross at. And you can see that in this. And as you get better with them, you're going to start bringing your arms apart and putting them together. And when you put them together, you're going to have to compensate just a little bit so that when they're crossing, they're not crossing like this, or they're crossing completely and they're going to hit each other, just where one just barely passes the other one, just a little bit off. There's about this much of a gap between them, about half your poi length between them, and it makes this little gap here. And that gap, as you get better and better with it, you'll be able to sense it and feel where it is. You'll be able to grab that spot and just hold on to it. And that's going to let you do your butterflies as long as you need to. And once you're good with your butterflies, you can then work on other types of butterflies, or you can continue with some of the other stuff. If you want to, you can actually go and learn split time butterflies now, and those should be fun for you as well.